This is Rose. Today's topic from the Book of Life is Proverbs 22, verse 6. What does it mean? Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Let's take a look at this short story from the Book of Life. Robert is preparing for an interview with a local entertainment news station. He has won a Lifetime Achievement Award for the work he has done with at-risk youths. Robert is the founder and CEO of a nonprofit called Higher Learning and Achievement. The core purpose of the nonprofit is to supply a safe place for inner city kids to come after school where they can learn techniques and skills in becoming a productive citizen as they mature into an adult. The nonprofit teaches the kids motivational skills, communication skills, discipline, entrepreneur skills. During the interview, Robert was asked what motivated him to start a nonprofit for inner city at-risk kids. Robert expressed to the interviewer that as a child, his parents and uncle taught him the same skills that is being taught in his nonprofit. According to Robert, although I parted away from what I was taught for a short period of time, I never forgot what I learned as a child. For this reason, I was able to find my way back to being a productive citizen. Robert further stated that he feels many inner city kids are latchkey kids because their parents have to work long hours and therefore they miss out on significant training that will help guide their paths in life. The interviewer asked Robert if he would like to share a story from his childhood that led him to where he is today. Robert replied yes. He felt he was better at sharing stories than answering one-on-one questions. Robert began to share his story, and it goes, as I was approaching my 18th birthday and approximately 3 weeks prior to my high school graduation, my parents suggested we combine my birthday and graduation into one big celebration. I agreed with my parents in combining two events into one celebration. I came up with an idea on how I would like these two events to be celebrated. It was important to me to have a small backyard party with all my friends from 6 p.m. to midnight. I wanted everyone that graduated high school with me to be in attendance because I knew just about everyone in school. It was also important to me to invite my 5 best friends since elementary school to sleep over for an early departure to my parents' log cabinet in the woods for a 1 day and 1 night of camping. I wanted the camping trip to take place the next morning after the party. I expressed to my parents that the camping trip would be beneficial to myself and my friends in helping us to share thoughts and confusion and questions and concerns about the next chapter in our lives as we move from high school into a life as young adults. You see, I was a very talkative person. I was a person that was led and raised with wisdom. And so therefore, I had to have everything make sense. I had to think things through and pre-plan and think ahead of time and discuss things in order to see things clearly, in order to grasp my next steps. And my friends knew me to be this type of person. As a child, since the age of 10, my friends nicknamed me Preacher because I was this type of child. I have always been the voice of reason within my peer group. I would convince my friends to handle disagreements by discussing the circumstances that led to the disagreement. This is because my parents taught me hitting someone with your fist doesn't solve a disagreement. It only makes it worse. Therefore, I would challenge my friends. I would challenge them to think about the reasons why they wanted to fight each other by inflicting pain with their hands. It wasn't that serious. Just because somebody disagrees with you, you ready to hurt them physically? Many times my friends will walk away from a heated conversation without fighting, after me challenging them to think and to question their need to express anger by inflicting pain on each other. My father, Thomas, he felt the camping trip was an excellent idea. He suggests we invite his brother, who is my uncle, William. My Uncle William, he is a youth pastor, a minister at his church. My dad felt William would be helpful in answering questions and concerns that myself and my friends may have that we become complex or stuck on or confused. My dad assured me that him and my Uncle William would only be there to assist when asked. That he wanted me to know it was important to him for me to know that he trusts me in my judgment by allowing me to facilitate my event in the way that I had planned it. I was so thankful and grateful to my dad for communicating that to me, because that's what I'm used to. I'm used to my parents communicating to me and giving me a clear picture of why certain decisions were made. It made me feel important, special, equal as a family member, and that's the person who I am and the person that I like to spread and share among my peer group. On the day of my celebration, the backyard party went well. It looked like the entire graduating class was in my backyard, which is what I wanted. My mother hired a caterer to prepare a variety of finger foods and desserts. A variety of non-alcoholic drinks were available as well. My parents and my Uncle William chaperoned the party. By midnight, as planned, the backyard was cleared of people except for myself and my 5 best friends, who I invited to sleep over and attend the camping trip the next morning. I and my 5 friends camped out in the backyard. We were awakened at 5 a.m. the next morning to the smell of bacon, sausage, eggs, pancakes cooking in the kitchen. My mom was up cooking us a big breakfast for the long trip ahead. My dad and my uncle were sitting at the kitchen table sipping on coffee. Me and my 5 friends, we jumped up when we smelled that food and headed to the kitchen. After breakfast, my dad asked me and my friends to shower and prepare our overnight bags for camping at the cabin in the woods. By 8 a.m., we were all packed and ready to go. The RV was filled to the brim with all our stuff. We were ready for that 5-hour trip. We all enjoyed the road trip by listening to our favorite musical CDs and reminiscing about the highlights of high school. It was fun being able to just sit with my friends in the RV talking about our 4 years of high school and the things we remember and the things that was so touching and rememberable and things that we wouldn't have mind reliving if we could. That was fun. Upon arriving at the cabin, me and my friends changed into our swimming suits. We couldn't wait to get out of the RV even though we enjoyed the ride. We were sitting still for 5 hours. We jumped out. We were changed into our swimming shorts, and my father and my uncle prepared the grill to grill us hot dogs and burgers for lunch. Once we all had settled down from swimming and eating lunch, my uncle looked over at me. He can tell my silence spoke to him loud. I was a little complex on how to open the discussion with my friends. So my uncle opens the floor of conversation by asking me to allow my heart to guide me in directing the discussion on the next chapter in our lives as young adults. After thanking my uncle and dad for their support, I expressed to my 5 friends. I say to them, I feel as young men moving from one important stage in our lives to another, it is important to have clear understanding and direction towards what's ahead for us. And throughout this year, I tell them that I have talked to many of my peers, not just you 5 that are here with me today. I talked to many of my peers regarding the next chapter of our lives. And I let them know that many said they do not know what to do after high school. Some said they will attend college. Others stated they will look for a job. I said, but overall, approximately 90% of my peers wasn't sure what they were going to do. Then I reminded my friends, as you all know, throughout high school, I volunteered as a mentor for elementary school age boys at the YMCA. When I asked those young boys to share in conversation what their parents had taught them about morals and values, or what to do or what not to do in becoming a young man, these young boys did not recall having any conversations on character building. The only thing they could recall is being told by their parents to take out the trash, wash your hands before you eat all your food, look out for your younger brother and sister, do not play in the classroom, come straight home from school, come in the house before the street lights come on, and do your homework. That was it. This led me to wonder where would they end up without structural guidance in building a stable, fruitful life as they grow into young adults. My parents have always raised me according to the principle outlined in Proverbs 22:6 of the Bible. This proverb tells us to train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. The question that ponders my thought is, do parents understand that they are to train their children from the age of 0 to 18 in preparation for adulthood? Or do they think their only position as a parent is to feed, clothe, and discipline their child for bad behavior? Or is it possible that parents believe that the training starts at age 18 once the child graduates from high school? At this point of me speaking to the young kids, I find that there is a gap. Something is missing. I asked my friends, my 5 friends who was at the camping trip with me, I asked them all to share what their parents had trained or taught them in preparation for adulthood or life on their own. The interviewer stopped Robert as he was trying to get his thoughts together. She intervened and she said to him, what did he learn from asking his friends that question? Well, they all stated that their parents never gave them any training in preparation for them living outside of their family homes as a young adult. 2 of my friends in attendance at the camp said that playing sports throughout high school taught them discipline and also how to be a team player by understanding it's okay to be recognized as an individual due to your skills. However, the spotlight has to be about the team. All 5 of my friends said that one of the things they observed in a household is when their mother stayed home and did not work, that their mother and their sister took care of the household as their father worked long hours. But they also observed in their household when their mother did eventually go out the household to get a job in their teen years, no one that they could see took care of the household. It was a change in their household. They would see their mother come home from work, bringing in fast food from a local restaurant or coming in preparing a quick meal. But as far as the rest of their household, how it was maintained, they did not know. So the interviewer asked Robert, how did all that you spoke and received from your friends start you to open and operate your own nonprofit? Well, said Robert, I always had the desire to mentor kids. However, for a short period of time, I went in a different direction by becoming a probation officer. Our jails were filled to the brim with young men who had no directions in life. I felt maybe I could make a change in their lives by guiding them to make better decisions and by helping them to find jobs. It truly was my intention to reach out to men and give to them what I always gave to my peers when I was in school. It was important to me. The interviewer asked, how did that work out? Robert stated, well, as you can see, I am here today. It did not work out well. Many of the men on probation were conditioned to the street training they learned as kids. There was no change in their mindsets. On many occasions, I found myself having to fight for my life. Having to fight for my life by using force with my hands. I was going against the principles that I believed in and that I was taught as a child. But this was no other way. I had no other choice, and it troubled my spirit. This went against the person I was as a child growing up. However, it took me back to my original path in mentoring kids, catching them at their most informative years to instill skills and principles that would guide them in becoming productive citizens. That's when I realized that's what is needed. I believe kids' most informative years actually starts at the age of 4 through age 18, when they enter into preschool until the time they graduate from high school and have to make that lifelong decision as to where do they go from here. Robert asked the interviewer, do you have any closing remarks? Yes, I do. Robert stated, I would like to challenge all parents to raise their children with principles that aid them in making good, morally and sound decisions, and train them to be able to live independent of their families by teaching them simple skills like balancing a checkbook, budgeting, and saving for a rainy day. We as parents cannot rely on the schools to teach our kids life skills, and we definitely do not want to depend on the streets to teach them. When we train up our children in the way that they should go, I believe they will live a life that is best described in Songs 1. And Songs 1 reads as follows. Blessed is the man that walked not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of the sinners, nor sit in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. And in his law do he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bring forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the ungodly should not stand in judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord know the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. The interviewer thanked Robert for his interview. She thanked him. She said, your interview was very informative and enlightening, and I know someone will be blessed by the words you shared with us today. Robert said to her, no, thank you for the opportunity to share my story. Click the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Be blessed, Be safe. Peace, everyone. Remember to click that thumbs up button.